Welcome to this episode of YouTube where I've entitled it Keeping Warm in 40 Below. And sometimes it's air temperature, sometimes it's wind chill. But the good thing is we're working with animals who have evolved in a northern climate and they seem to do quite well in winter. Even Luna, who's you would suspect with that back right leg be a little bit stiff, but she's up and mobile. A few days of the cold, we noticed a little bit more limping, but she's with a little anti-inflammatory. She's back on the road to activity. So these wolves have evolved to live in a northern climate. They have a double hair system. They seem to be able to manage quite well. The compaction of a captive environment is a little bit concerning. So you may notice in some of our imagery that we do use cover hay beds that help give them a little of insulation over the compacted snow. But as you can see here, these animals are active, up and moving around. And certainly we do see a little bit more diurnal pattern here in the wintertime, meaning active more in the daytime. We still feed a large carcass on Saturdays, but because of the temperatures, we'll also give some smaller food in the middle of the week. So this is actually a beaver that Luna's chewing on here from a Saturday evening feeding. And it's pretty much frozen by the next day, so they'll continue to chew on it. Because we want to keep the calories up to be able to make sure that they stay warm, we do supplement with some beef or venison or things that we have donated, or we do, like I've said in the past, purchase chicken and beef for these midweek feedings. Denali's feasting on a beef jerky here. Actually, it's a venison jerky stick, so these kind of look like cigars in the wolves' mouths when they start chewing on them, but they like them. They're, again, a meat-based product, a venison-based product, and so they will consume those right away. And those we thaw and kind of disperse around the enclosure, and so you'll see Aiden consuming one, and then obviously going to scent mark near where that food is placed. You'll see Aiden again with a good winter coat here. This secondary coat is keeping them waterproof, while the inner undercoat is keeping them warm, and that's the undercoat is what they shed during the springtime. The guard hairs are permanent, but they have a dual purpose here. So you see Aiden eating one of those venison jerkies in his hay bed there, and we try to spread the hay out enough so every wolf gets a spot. There are times when I see bolts kind of on the edge of the cover hay. I watched on the surveillance cameras the other day where Denali had his legs straight up in the air. He was sprawled out, took up half the bed. So we do use a lot. Obviously, every time it snows, we need to redistribute some more cover hay. But that is one way that we help keep them warm. Like I said, we know they're wolves and they probably don't need it. But it's our job in captivity, because in the wild where you would have fresh snow, you wouldn't have so much compaction as you do in captivity. So even in the wild, wolves are lying in snow that's insulating. Here in captivity, because of confinement, that snow gets compacted and loses its insulating value. So here we have a little bit of a clip of Bolts defending some food that he's getting from Luna. So Bolts is picking up a little bit more confidence as he's dealing with his food possessions. And again, some of that's motivated by cold. And certainly he is one of those wolves who doesn't always get to eat first. So for Grizzer, we're obviously quite a bit more concerned with our older animals. Grizzer's going to be 11 in May. And so we watch them quite a bit more than we do the younger animals. Everybody here, again, let's say gets hay bed or straw beds, and so Grizzer's got not only on the top of the east side den, but inside the east side den, and then also underneath a balsam tree in the pack holding area. And this one actually gets a little bit more sun. The east side enclosure doesn't get a lot of sun, and Grizzer gets pretty excited when he gets a new straw bed, and he does a little bit of a chase and also going to the edge of the front of the wolf yard to be able to see Tina. So when Tina comes in, Grizzer gets pretty excited. But that's, like I say, part of a daily basis for wolf care. 365 days a year, wolves are checked. And Grizzer also gets a little bit of a treat. He probably gets a little bit more frequently fed because of its age. And we give, like I said, those are thawed treats, those smaller ones, so they're instantly consumed. Obviously, it doesn't affect the BTUs to have to chew on frozen food that's left, so that's real important to us. And then after you've been satiated with a good meal, Grizzer demonstrates a common wolf behavior, which is called a snowplow. It's probably a grooming behavior where he puts his head in the snow and kind of pushes that snow and we call it a snow plow because it looks like a plow moving snow, and then goes into what's called a face wipe, and a face wipe is where you wipe your muzzle back and forth. Again, another way of grooming or cleaning yourself. So that's what's going on here this week. We're kind of testing out some new camera equipment, so hopefully you'll see some improvements in our video. We also had a wolf watch this past week. Every Friday, beginning of the month, we host a wolf watch where people can come and observe the wolves overnight, and great photographic opportunities. So if you're interested in getting to know our wolves a little bit more and want to do a unique program, a slumber type program that stays right in the auditorium there in front of the wolves, check out our website. We're also doing quite a few more webinars. I have added some webinars this year coming up. In January's webinars, January 29th, it's the National Puzzle Day, so we're going to talk a little bit about problem-solving abilities with wolves and actually try to see how well they solve problems. I've added some feeding program webinars. I know a lot of people ask about the wolf feeding, so some of them are small feedings that I may give during the daytime, some of the webinars. Some of them are enclosure enrichments. And then a few of the webinars throughout the year will be actually the large carcass feeding webinar, and so that will give you a first-hand view of how the wolves interact when they're feeding. If you are interested in a webinar and need more details, please always be free to email me at curator@wolf.org, and I can help answer anyone's questions. So that's it for this week. Thanks for watching. See you next week.